Easy people, welcome back to my channel at Big Steve MCFC. Well, just come on from the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 1. Really good performance by the boys today. Breath of fresh air, especially after the disappointing game against Aston Villa, where a lot of us, we decided that Pep got the selection wrong. And I think that today he got it absolutely spot on. I feel like the team he put out today was perfect. It had balance, it had flair, it had pace, it had power, it had grit, it had determination. And then you look at the subs bench, you've got all of the above on there as well. So at the minute, well, after today's game, looking at the Premier League table, we're back in second place. It's looking okay. You know what I mean? It's looking okay. And I think the manner of performance against Aston Villa last week definitely got a lot of us fans down. And we started to think, is it going to be one of them seasons where you take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back? And, you know, we just don't seem to be getting anywhere. But today, like I mentioned a minute ago, I thought it was a breath of fresh air. I think that the Josko Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz partnership at the back is our best option. I feel like Nico O'Reilly and Mateus Nunes is our best options at fullback. The midfield today, Bernardo, Nico Gonzalez, and Phil Foden was unbelievable. Jeremy Doku and Cherki and Erling Haaland. But let's get into it. The tactics Pep employed were brilliant. Doku and Cherki playing very narrow inside in the midfield worked. Doku was popping up all over the place on the left, on the right. Cherki was the same. I feel like Cherki's eye for a pass complemented everyone else's game. I feel like Erling Haaland today must have thought it was Christmas. You've got a player that first thought in his mind is forward. He's always looking for that killer pass. You've got Phil Foden, who's desperate for a player on his same wavelength who can play them intricate passes, them 1-2s. Cherki was the man. And I thought it all come together and worked well. The first goal was a great bit of play in the centre of the park by City. And the ball loops up in the air. And I said it to my old fella, like a lot of players would have headed that backwards, you know, to keep possession. But Cherki saw that Haaland was in space, nodded it forward, and you just let Big Earl do it. He sprints ahead of the defender and smashes it in 1-0. And you're thinking, fair play. Great start by City, you know what I mean? We look very good. Bournemouth did have a goal chalked off early on for offside. That was a bit of a scare. But Bournemouth are a very good side. Let me tell you this, they're a very good side, and they were going to cause a lot of teams problems. They were always on the front foot. They passed the ball around really well. They've got a great shape. They've got a great pace and power. They've got one of the most informed players in the league in Semenyo. But I'll tell you something today, Mateus Nunes, absolute pocketed him. Semenyo's still in his back pocket now snoring because Nunes thought, you know what, I'm on it. And I tell you what, I've got to give Mateus Nunes credit because we all thought that Mateus Nunes was the weakest link at right back. We've all said it on streams, and if you're saying you haven't said it, you're a liar. We've all said it, but he seems to be turning into a very accomplished fullback. His positioning spot on, pace spot on, turning out of danger spot on. And I thought it was probably his best game today, Mateus Nunes. I thought he was up against a very good player in Semenyo. I'm not saying he's crap. I'm just saying he's a good player. But Nunes didn't give him an inch. You know what I mean? Didn't give him an inch. And I thought, you've got to give him credit for that. A lot of people underneath the concourse before the game were saying, I'm worried about Semenyo-Nunes battle. Mateus came out on top. So Mateus Nunes, quality. Absolute quality. Second player I'm going to mention, Nico Gonzalez. You know, a lot of City fans were wondering why he was signed when he wasn't playing. Pep was trusting Gundogan, Pep was trusting Kovacic, etc. last season, and he wasn't getting a game. But I'll tell you something, he's getting a game now and he's playing very well. He's one of these players that needed game time. Just breaking up play, winning them aerial duels, getting the ball down, turning in tight spaces, getting us on the front foot. Brilliant at it. And he can only get better, and I just hope he keeps fit. But he was outstanding again today. Nico, very good. Bernardo Silva's energy, class. They want a player on the park today that I can't compliment. I think every single one of them was unbelievable. But Erling Haaland must think it's Christmas, like you say, with Ryan Cherki. We went to Swansea the other night. He was outstanding at Swansea. He makes the game seem so easy, but he's so dangerous. And one thing with Ryan Cherki is he's always looking for that killer pass. He's always looking to do something a little bit risky and a little bit out of the box. And players like that are a rarity and they're outstanding. But often you can't compliment them and get them in your team because they don't offer discipline. They don't offer tracking back. They offer everything going forward, but nothing, defending wise. But I feel like Cherki worked hard today, off the ball as well, getting back into shape. But there was little spells in the game where him and Foden and Bernardo, they started balling out, 1-2 touch football, little intricate passes and stuff. And I feel like he's a game changer. I think he's a massive option and a great player, and we've got to keep him fit. But the first goal with a header, like I've said, outstanding. Unfortunately, Bournemouth equalised. It was a howler from Donnarumma. He's tried to punch it. I've not seen the replay. I've only seen it live in the stadium. It looked like he's tried to punch it. He's not got a full fist on it. It's dropped down and the lads tapped it in 1-1. But we didn't look really troubled by that. Okay, we made a mistake. We got the ball. We got back on the front foot and we carried on going again. You know what I mean? And the second goal, Erling Haaland, what a ball again by Ryan Cherki. He hits that little dink over the defence. Bournemouth left a lot of space in behind. Haaland's ran onto it. I thought he took his first touch too far towards the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper comes out and he knocks it round him. And I'm right behind that goal, by the way. And the angle that Erling Haaland puts that ball in the net was unbelievable. And he slots it in and it's 2-1. And at the end of the day, there's no striker on the planet I would rather have than Erling Haaland at the minute. I'm sorry, there's nobody else there. Even Mbappe, Erling Haaland for me is unbelievable. And like you say, he'll be sat there tonight, eating his tomahawk steak and drinking his gallon of milk, thinking, I'm on some form, you know what I mean? But one thing for Big Earl, from all the City fans, your robot looked a little bit loose. It needed to loosen up a little bit. It looked a bit stiff. You know what I mean? Peter Crouch did the robot, and when he did the hand movement, it was a bit more. Yours was a bit, I don't know. You know what I mean? Need to get some WD-40 on the old joints there. It was more the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, I thought, than the robot. You know what I mean? You remember the Tin Man when he was a bit stiff and they had to oil him up? I think we're going to have to oil him up there with that celebration. You know what I mean? So, but listen, I'm taking it. Big Earl, 2 goals, 2-1 up at the break. Happy days. And then second half, it was much more of just let's put the game to bed. We've let a few teams this season come back into certain games. Monaco was one of them. You know what I mean? We're giving teams a foothold in the game. Anyway, it didn't happen. We put them to bed. Big Earl should have betted it early in the first half, late in the first half, sorry, when he went 1-on-1. He tried to dink the keeper. It was a great save by the goalie. That would have been 3-1 done, dusted for me. But we betted it in the second half. Nico O'Reilly, another player, absolutely outstanding, made that left-back position his own, I think, this season. He gets into the box. And obviously, Nico was a midfield player. You know what I mean? He was a attacking midfielder. So if you're giving him in that space, he's going to punish you. And he punished him. He put it in the bottom corner. It's 3-1. And then we're seeing out the game. You know what I mean? We got lots of possession. We could afford the luxury to bring on Ait Naori, who needed minutes. Rodri, who needed minutes. You know what I mean? Savinho came on. Again, a little bit frustrating from Savinho. The thing is with Savinho, we all know what he's about. And what you've got to remember is Pep will know what he's about as well. And if he doesn't start to deliver, then he won't play, because this team now is getting up to where we need to be. Starting to see his best side, starting to see the options we can play. Do you know what I mean? I fully believe in what I said last week against Aston Villa, that if he plays Nico O'Reilly and he plays a Kovacic in the midfield in there or something like that, we win that game. So, whether Pep's listened, I don't know. We're always one mad lineup away from disaster again with Pep. But I'm sure after what he's seen today, he realises that we've got some fantastic options. And like you say, the Ryan Cherki, Erling Haaland link up and the Ryan Cherki, Phil Foden link up, I think that's got something special written all over it. You know what I mean? It's going to be an interesting few weeks. You know what I mean? We've got Borussia Dortmund on Wednesday, followed by Liverpool, 2 massive games. You know what I mean? If we can get a result against Liverpool at home, it puts us right in the mix for me. And I think people are going to stand up then and think, you know what, this Man City team, they're starting to plug away and get results. Dortmund's going to be big in the Champions League after the draw against Monaco, the silly draw. We need to get points on the board. You know what I mean? Villarreal, Napoli, we've done that. Let's get some more points on the board and make sure we finish in that top 8 in that group and get a favourable draw. That's what we need to do there. But yeah, I was convinced that this lineup was special. And just to talk on the tactics, bringing them into the midfield, it seemed to allow Bournemouth to think, oh, well, we can just pack that midfield and step forward a little bit and come in. And we dragged them in a little bit. And once we dragged them in, they were there for the taking. And like you say, that ball over the top, for me, goes because the Bournemouth backline has come into the middle of the park to engage, instead of standing off a little bit. So it worked. You know what I mean? I thought Phil Foden playing his 200th Premier League appearance for Man City, the youngest to ever do it, was outstanding again. I thought he kept it moving, kept it working along, ticking along nice. Donnarumma, when he had to make a save, made a save. I know he made a mistake, but he looked fuming with that. But other than that, I can't say any more about the actual game. I think it was a perfect performance. Do you know what I mean? I think it was a really, really perfect performance. I'd just like to say as well, the minute's applause on 35 minute for Guy Bradshaw was outstanding. Guy was a friend of mine. He was a big blue. A lot of people knew him, and it shocked a lot of people. The GoFundMe page raised over £35,000, which is insane. But I spoke to Guy's dad today on the concourse before the game. He was very, very choked up at the response of the football club. He said Manchester City have been brilliant with him and the family. They've really helped out, helping with the procedure to get Guy's body flown back from Spain. I think Manchester City have been brilliant with that, helped him out, looked after the family. And he just wanted to basically thank all the Blues that chipped in, because we are a big family in this fan base. We all come together when it's needed. And Guy was one of us, and that minute's applause today was fantastic for him. So everyone that took part and everyone that donated on the GoFundMe page, thank you very much for that. And like you say, it was well received by Guy's dad. Another thing I want to mention is Jamaica. Jamaica has got a lot of Manchester City fans. There's a lot of Jamaican Blues that always comment on this channel, and we haven't heard from them for a few days now. There's the tragedy over there, the hurricanes and the weather situation is mental. The island of Jamaica has literally just been devastated. You know what I mean? Devastated. I've seen some of the pictures, 5-star hotels that are gone and stuff, and my heart goes out to the people there. It's a tragedy, And I got asked by some Jamaican Blues today, could I mention it? And all I'm saying is, yeah, from me, my heart is out to the people in Jamaica. I hope everyone's staying safe. And there's a lot of Blues out there, and a lot of people that link up with on our community page, etc., etc. So my thoughts and prayers are going out to Jamaica with that one. Other than that, Blues, we've got. I'll talk about Swansea the other night. Quick one. I was there at Swansea. I thought we did okay. First half, Swansea, they picked him and had a go and huffed and puffed, but we dealt with it. You know what I mean? And like you say, we've got a decent squad now. We look like we've got options off the bench. We look like we can go into these games and we can rest a few players, which we didn't have that option before. Kuzanov came back in the side. He wasn't involved today. Kovacic wasn't involved again. Maybe he's got another little knock, or maybe they just dropped. But it looks like we're getting everybody fit and we're getting everybody back, and we're just in time because we've got tough games coming up. Newcastle, Liverpool, Dortmund. Got to be nine. It's got to be 9 points. It's got to be 9 points. 3 in the Champions League, 6 in the league. We've got to go for it. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to do. Anything else on the agenda? Oh yeah, I'm just going to touch on the North Stand, the new North Stand. I've not read the details of what's going on there. I've had a few emails about City opening up a corporate section and moving nearly 500 fans. So for me, it doesn't look like it's been done properly. If that corporate level is going on that bottom tier of that North Stand, then you're going to get about 400 empty seats in the second half for about 15 minutes while everyone finishes the pint, which is not ideal when Manchester City are going that end and we need to win games. The notion of the blue wall, etc., which people said, I think that plan fell down. There's going to be no blue wall. It doesn't look like they've even made an attempt at a blue wall, because you wouldn't have corporate sections in the blue wall. It just doesn't work like that, you know. I don't know what the plans are with it. I'm gonna knuckle down and read what's going on and see what the thing is. So I'm not criticizing anyone at the minute. I'm just saying I've had emails saying I've had to move, Steve. I've been here like 20 years and this, that, and the other. So I don't know the ins and outs of it or what they're planning to do. But we'll see in the next couple of weeks. I think the 1894 I've got a grip of the situation as well, so they will be putting it more forward. City Matters reps have obviously been told about this, so they're going to get involved. So we'll see with that. So anyone messaging me about it, what's my opinion? I don't know my opinion yet because I've not read it proper, but I will do. I will do. Other than that, I went to Crewe the other night. Supporters Club, the official supporters club at Crewe, invited me down as a special guest. I've only ever done 2 of these. I did Winsford and now I've done Crewe. And I'll be honest with you, I get a little bit embarrassed because why would they want me as a special guest? You know, they have ex-players and stuff. I get it. They want to talk about the club. I can only talk about my journey as a City fan and my experience around the club and stuff like that. And it seemed to go down well. There was probably 75 to 80 people there. Everybody said they enjoyed it. I've had people come up to me today and say it was one of the best meetings we've had, Steve. So I appreciate that. I just to let people know, I drove 6 hours back from Swansea, and then I drove another hour and 40 to Crewe. Yeah, just because I appreciate the City fans wanted to listen to me speak. So I had a long day of driving that day, nearly 9 hours, but it was worth it. And big up the Crewe branch, who were fantastic, and they were really, really good. Other than that, somebody asked me to give him a shout out, and I don't know if I've got his name. But let me find it here, because this kid's dad asked me to do it for him. We've seen him outside. We've seen him outside Swansea. I've got him. I want to say a big shout out to Archie Mack. I seen you at Swansea with your dad. You know, you were getting behind the boys. Your dad said, "Can you give Archie a shout out?" So Archie Mack, you know who you are. I seen you at Swansea. This is a shout out for you. Keep supporting the Blues. Keep holding your dad up. I think he'd had a few beers that night. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But keep going. Archie Mack, big up. Other than that, people, please hit a like. Please subscribe to my channel. 30,000 subscribers. We finally got there. Thank you, everybody that subscribes to my channel. I know I don't do enough videos. I know that. But 30,000 for me is big. It's big. One day I'm going to hit 100k. When I get my act together and I start doing it and I get a bit of time and start rolling it out, I'm going to do it. But I don't want to flood you with bullshit and shite and think Steve's just here to make streams that talk shit. There's enough people on this platform that waffle bare shit without me adding to it. So I'll always try and tell you the truth. I'll always give you my opinion. It's my opinion. Yeah. No one I work for, nothing. It's my opinion. And you will hear my opinion be the same on every single channel. There'll be no flip-flopping from me, you know? So I appreciate the support. It means a lot. And if you've got mates who are City fans, if you've got a Facebook page, if you've got a Man City fan page, yeah, give the YouTube a shout, please, people. There's Man United YouTubers, yeah, who are on double and treble the amount of followers I've got. And I feel like I'm here repping. You know what I mean? So get it in your groups, get it in your supporters groups. Let's back Steve. Let's get on here. Let's get on here. I appreciate it. Always appreciate it. But anyway, I'm happy tonight. It's Sunday night. I can go to bed happy. It's a fresh week tomorrow. Manchester City have won. We're second in the league. We've got Borussia Dortmund on Wednesday. Bring your best voices because Dortmund are going to be loud. And then we've got Liverpool at weekend. So all I can say is have a great night, people. Thanks for watching my video. Up the Blues. Big up Erling Haaland. Big up Ryan Cherki. Big up Mateus Nunes. Big up Nico Gonzalez. And big up the fans. But let's not big up Anthony Taylor because he's a prick. So on that note, up the Blues. Good night.